Now, it's also Khalil Herbert is having his own issues, right? We look at how the snaps played out in the Green Bay Packers Chicago Bears game, and that's also concerning because Roschon Johnson had 5 carries, but he also had 6 receptions on 7 targets in catch-up mode. Donta Foreman had 5 carries. Khalil Herbert, 9 carries, so he led the team. But in these, are we confident with what the Bears are going to be able to do in week number 2? Tell me you saw what you wanted to see from the Bears. Tampa Bay played inspired, and in week 2, the over-under is 40. Can Khalil Herbert fall in the end zone and salvage your day? Probably not. That's the concern, is that Khalil Herbert is in a 3-way kind of share with his other Chicago Bears peeps. And so I'm out on Khalil Herbert. I think Roschon Johnson showed he has the juice. Johnson, 79.5 PFF rush grade, 2.6 yards after contact per attempt is respectable. And what's even more impressive is Roschon Johnson, 82.5 pass block grade. So not only was he catching a lot of passes, he caught 6 passes for 35 yards. His yards per route run was 2.06, which is respectable for running backs. And his pass block grade was 82.5, so he can play on third downs. And so Roschon Johnson, probably a priority. I hope he's been a priority ad for you in your waiver wire. Khalil Herbert, I think, is in a little bit of a trouble. And even if we were to say, oh, Khalil Herbert will get double-digit carries in this game, against the Tampa Bay front 7, that's tough. That's a tough sell. So I am concerned about Khalil Herbert holding on to that role. If you like the content, find it helpful, make sure you hit that red subscribe button.